If you are a parent, if you are a spouse, if you are a trainer, we don't want your opinion. We don't want your opinion on this because it doesn't do good for the team. It doesn't do good for the player. And recently, our big Perk was addressed, and I'll give Perk the floor. Hopefully, he stays plugged in. But I'll give Perk I'll give Perk the floor. It's gonna be a little wobbly, but I'm gonna give Perk. You got the floor.
So this is the growth in me, right? Obviously, Jaylen Brown dad went on the podcast, and he had some things to say to me, or whatever the case may be. About me changing on his son, or whatever the case. That's irrelevant. Let me say this. Number one, I'm a fan of Jaylen Brown's. I've been a fan of Jaylen Brown's. You could go check my X account, and all the way since back when, I've been talking about Jaylen Brown being arguably the best two-way player in the game. Okay, cool, whatever. This year, I voted for Jaylen Brown, first team All-NBA. It's a tweet out there where he said, hey, man, he felt kind of disrespected in a way. This is not accurate quote, but it's along the lines of because he felt like the world's against him. Well, I wasn't. I actually voted you first team All-NBA. That's number one.
That's a
fact. Secondly, I actually voted you fourth on my MVP ballot over Luka. So
facts.
Okay, cool. That's another fact. Last but not least, I just penciled in a volunteer deal at a HBCU, Jackson State University, where I'm going to help people be able to be better, help people to be able to get into college, and it's not just sports. So, I'm doing my part.
You're doing a great job, Perk.
Yeah, but last but not least, bro, is the part of it, and I've learned from my mistakes in the past as far as how I go about approaching things on television. One thing I took a step back from was name calling. So when I addressed Jaylen Brown, the situation at hand, I addressed basketball, right? I addressed basketball. I never once disrespect Jaylen Brown by calling him a clown. I never called him a cancer to the team. I never said any of that. So that's neither here nor there. I was addressing something that was pertaining basketball, trade rumors, stuff like that. Now, since I got my two brothers on here, I think the biggest thing is that I address, and I didn't just say it to Jaylen Brown. I actually said it to Jalen Brunson on his podcast when during the All-Star break to his face. Me and JB got a good relationship, and he accepted it. He told me how I felt, told me how I felt in front of a live audience. I also addressed Draymond Green way back in the day about podcast. I'm just one that's made up of, I don't believe that guys should be doing podcasts while they're playing. Now, my two brothers here actually was the first ones to actually set the trend and start this shit of doing it, which is not a bad thing. We could agree to disagree. So, those are my thoughts. Those are my feelings. To address Jaylen Brown pops is, and I say this in the most humble way, is beneath me. I'm not on that. I'm not on that type of time. Nobody's about to be out here fighting. I'm 41 years old. I'm not fighting anybody. I'm not, that's not the question. Yeah. We're not doing that, but that's what it is.
Yeah, and this is the thing. There are always things, I've had.
Hold on, Richard, because in the chat, let me clear something up. He said, somebody in the chat said, hey, Perk said that on TV that I said that I received text messages from Jaylen Brown teammates. No, that is not accurate. I said that I received text messages from former players, okay, that didn't agree with the timing of Jaylen Brown when he came out with his podcast and said that this was his favorite season of his career. They didn't agree with the timing of it. And
I don't agree with the timing of it.
Huh?
I don't think anybody agrees with the timing.
Thank you, Channing.
It's just not the right time to say that. It's just not the right time to say that, especially when you're in Boston and you have championship expectations, it just seemed very selfish. Now, did we watch the whole stream? No. But do things get clipped? Yes. That shouldn't be, again, it's just not the right timing. I don't want to get into all that. It just wasn't the right timing. And if he would have said, hey, it wasn't the right timing, I should have prefaced by saying, me individually, what I've accomplished this year was to show people I could do it myself. That's very different.
What's up, y'all? Allie here, Richard here. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go hit that subscribe button to stay tapped in with Road Trippin' all season long. You don't want to miss what we have in store. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, tell a friend to tell a friend. Road Trippin' is here. We're taking over.
No, stop blaming us for what Perk says. Yeah, that's very different. And I think, and that's the thing is that we live in an era where people want to clip stuff. We started off the show where people were deciding to take tidbits or statements, shout out our brother Mozzie, that where people want to take clips and make something negative, and then people want to add their own opinion into different things. For Jaylen Brown, there was always something that was looming big in his career. He was a champion. He was a finals MVP. He was a conference MVP. He's been to the finals multiple times. He put out a tweet that I'm actually quite proud of him. Nobody has won more games since he entered into the league in the last 10 years. That's a fact. But there was one thing that I feel like might have been not necessarily missing from his resume, but yet to accomplish. Could he lead a team for 82? And so if you're like, hey, this year was the 1 year that I got an opportunity to prove that I could lead a team for 82 and be first team All-NBA, be a top 10 player. And he got an opportunity to prove that. So shout out to him for doing that. But people, and Jaylen Brown is a hyper-intelligent young man, he also have to understand that people might take that the wrong way. So to address that is not negative. To say, like, wait a second, you won a championship, you did this, you won this, and this was your favorite year, that means that there's context. And that's the unfortunate thing about the Player Podcast is now all of a sudden you have to address things. When Channing and I first started road tripping, we would only drop episodes after wins. Right? People don't understand this because we were recording on the road, and like as soon as we started road tripping, we might have lost like 4 out of 6. And people were like, oh, what's going on here? And these guys, they just need to focus in on basketball. We were a bit of ahead of the game. So we listened to the noise and wanted to make sure that this wasn't a distraction for our team or what we had going on. And so we would wait till we would win, and then we would drop an episode. Now that was 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years ago this January. If you got another sports podcast that's been going longer, so we are the longest running. Shout out the Road Trippin' family. But Channing, you remember some of the early conversations that we had of, hey, we're just talking life, we're talking basketball, and somehow because people got a look behind the curtain, now it was a distraction. You remember, Channing?
For sure. I think when you are accessible like that, and when you speak, especially the way he does, right, as an intelligent young man, sometimes how he's speaking, it's going to get clipped. And I think sometimes he may not need to go live all the time. Like, we've been doing this a long time. And so there are some thoughts that I go, you know what, maybe I should just hold that thought off for a second and then get all the facts, right? And so I think JB, here's what's interesting from the media side. The whole Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum thing, it's been a discussion, can this work, right? It did work. It has been working. But there is always this little tension of JT not be, JB not making the USA team or JT not playing on this. There's always a discussion there because, one, you're in a huge market, Boston. 2, you're some of the 2 young, most dynamic players in the NBA. And 3, people don't think, even though you guys have won, that you guys have a cohesive relationship. And so it's TV, it's media, of course. And so now when JB says stuff like that, he's actually feeding into what people may have assumed years ago. So it's not like this is just a one-time thing. This is, hey, my favorite year is the year Jayson Tatum doesn't play. People go, yep, I knew it. He doesn't like, and they're going to make assumptions. Is it right? Who knows? Is it wrong? Who knows? Only they know. So for us, it just is, he has to be cautious of what people's, not cautious, he has to be more cognizant of what people's images of them and to make sure that how he's speaking is in good light to his teammates.
And
that's it.
And that's the decision. But guess what? All three of us work in media. Yeah. All three of us has bumped our heads. Well, we done got called to the quote unquote, I call the principal office, right? Yeah. Where it was like, hey man, we in here, whatever the case may be. We've learned from that. All I'm saying is this. You can't, I'm not agreeing 24 hours after your team just blew a 3-1 lead, the first time.
Let's address that history. Part. Let's talk about basketball.
That basketball part.
Let's talk about that basketball part.
Like, you gotta let that sit out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you was the dog leading in charge. That game 7 was on your home floor. Jayson Tatum was not available. So that game 7 of that series was on your home floor. And then to make it even worse is that New York came in and swept them people. 2 of them games on the road without OG Anunoby. So what I'm saying is, it's like hold up, keep a cool booty. All we saying is, first of all, Danny Ainge is not even over there no more. That's just to the chat. But here's the thing. What I'm saying is to JB is we all have those learning curves in media when you have that platform. And you just got to be conscious enough to know, okay, man, Jaylen Brown, JT did just come off the worst thing that's ever happened to him in his basketball career, his Achilles tear. Let me be mindful and let me be thoughtful before I go out and say, hey, man, this was my favorite season of my career. Because, like, I ain't gonna lie, RJ Channing, if I wasn't on one of the episodes or I had to miss a month because I was ill, God forbid, in the hospital, and then all of a sudden I hear one of you two or Allie say, oh, this was our favorite fucking month of the fucking year. We killed it. Bro, I would call y'all like, hey, what the fuck y'all mean? Like, I would feel some type of way.
You should feel some type of way, or you would want some understanding.